I recently had the urge to test out one of the brand new Toyota Landcruisers, and I know you guys have kind of been asking about my thoughts on it. So what's the best way to test this vehicle out in its completely stock form? Let's take it on Hell's Revenge. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Talon and I make new videos every single week. So if you like what you see here today, consider clicking subscribe. I'm currently in beautiful Moab, Utah with my friends at Toyota, and they have a wide variety of vehicles for us to drive. They have some 4th gen Tacomas, they have some 6th gen 4Runners, all different varying models. I already own the Tacoma, so I don't really need to drive any of those. I'm kind of fresh off testing and driving every single one of the brand new 6th gen 4Runners, so you can check out that video as well. This is the one that I have the least amount of seat time in, but at the same time, I think I'm the most interested right now in the new Landcruiser 250s. Last year in October, I attended Camp Toyota, where I brought you guys a video comparing the TRD Pro versus the Trail Hunter Tacoma. What you didn't see is after that event, I actually took a Landcruiser just like this here, and we took a really nice scenic drive all the way through Shenandoah National Park. I was kind of gathering my thoughts on this vehicle and trying to figure out where it would fit into my own personal life, which is mainly off-roading and camping, but I never actually gave you guys my thoughts on it because I was really just using it how most people use a vehicle like this, kind of as a daily driver, a family hauler. But there's a little bit more to the Landcruiser than meets the eye. These things are surprisingly capable, and we are really going to put that to the test today. Now, before we do that, I want to give you guys kind of a brief overview, interior and exterior of the vehicle, some things that I like, some things that I don't particularly like, and this will hopefully give you kind of a baseline overview of the vehicle before we kind of thrash it off-road. This vehicle is a loaner from Toyota, so I'm really not going to beat on it too much, but we are definitely going to see where the capability can take us and where maybe it'll kind of fall flat. First and foremost, this is a brand new 2025 Toyota Landcruiser, and it's pretty standard if you've seen them out on the road before. All of these are going to be powered by an iForce Max 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and it's paired up to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Nothing that I'm a stranger to because this is basically the same as my Tacoma. It does come equipped with full-time 4-wheel drive and an electronically controlled locking rear and center differential. When it comes to the front, no locker there, but of course this does come with the multi-terrain select and crawl control, which definitely can help you out in a pinch. I think it has really improved over the years, but come on Toyota, give us a triple locked Landcruiser again. Up front we have the Toyota Heritage grille, triple beam LED headlights with DRL, and rigid industry white and amber switchable LED fogs, which is a nice touch from the factory. It has all of the Toyota Safety Sense 3.0 pre-collision, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, and it has all of the features that you want on a modern car, but also they can be a little bit intrusive at times. The one thing that really gets me is when I'm driving around out here, kind of looking out at all of the scenic stuff that Moab has to offer, and it just kind of blinks at me and says, hey, keep your eyes on the road. I'm sure there's a way to disable that, but I don't have to worry about it right now. It does have a power open and close liftgate, pop-up rear windows, and this one is equipped with running boards and roof rails as well. And then for some of the optional equipment, we do have a rear bumper guard and the Landcruiser Premium package on the inside, which gives you a 14-speaker JBL premium audio. It's got a subwoofer and an amp, illuminated entry, power moonroof, sunshade. There's a lot of stuff that comes with these Toyota packages, and I think this thing is outfitted pretty nicely. All of this could be yours for an MSRP of $68,714, which is more expensive than my Tacoma. It's more expensive than my Tundra, more expensive than my GR Corolla. It is not a cheap vehicle, so is an MSRP like that worth it? Don't run to the comments. I know everyone likes to complain about prices right now. Let's test this thing out off-road and really see how it does. Maybe a vehicle like this that's a little bit more expensive than my Tacoma, but can haul a ton of groceries, it can haul more people, it could be a little bit more comfortable. Maybe this is something that I might look into for myself in the future. We're gonna find out right now. All right, here we go. The start of Hell's Revenge. If you guys are not familiar with this trail, I'll give you a little bit of a brief overview of this as well. We're in the Sandflats Rec area in a little staging lot right down here at the bottom. You can see all of the 4Runners, Tacomas. There's only 2 Landcruisers. I'm gonna try to obviously be driving them most of the day, so I'm gonna be hopping back and forth between the 2, different drivers. We gotta share these vehicles and there's a lot of people here, so you may get a little bit of 4Runner and Tacoma action throughout this video as well. For Hell's Revenge, there are a few different ways to run it. It's basically an out and back trail or a full loop, depending on how you actually like to drive it. We're gonna be starting right here with the first obstacle, a big kind of blind fin. You're just gonna be staring at the sky, and that will drop down into what's sometimes known as Lake Michigan when it's filled up with water. Moab did just see a lot of rain recently, so there's a good chance that there will be a little bit of water on the other side of this fin here. And then we're gonna follow this trail all the way out through a couple more obstacles, and basically we're going to end all the way out at the viewpoint at the Colorado River. Now, because all of these vehicles are stock and they're loaners, sorry to break this to you guys right now, but we're not going to be doing anything crazy extreme like the obstacles that you may know on Hell's Revenge. You won't see the tip over challenge, Mickey's hot tub, the escalator, even Hell's Gates. I think some of these vehicles, especially the Trail Hunter 4Runners, could do an obstacle like that stock with a good driver, but we're going to be kind of keeping the vehicles off of that and hopefully bringing them all back down here in one piece. And it should be a pretty good day. So right here is a Landcruiser that I'm gonna be starting in. This is a different one from the 25. This is actually a 24, but it's spec'd almost identically. The only difference is they have the addition of the roof rack on top here. Depending on which Landcruiser I'm in, they are running some different tires. These are the upgraded wheels. I believe these are 20-inch alloy wheels. The 24 has the Dunlop Grand Trex and doesn't really look like an off-road tire. The 25 over here is also on those 20-inch wheels on some Yokohama Geolanders. So I would prefer something a little bit more aggressive, maybe like a Firestone Destination XT, even an MT, but we're aired down to about probably 22 PSI, and hopefully we'll have traction to climb some hills out here. All right, guys, we are doing it now. We're going to go into 4 low, and for now we're just going to lock the center differential. Still not triple locked. Toyota, I know you're watching this.
Come on in, Talon. Low range, good to go?
Yep, center lock.
Have fun.
Thank you. All right, let the circus begin. We got a lot of trucks here. There's also other people publicly using the trail, obviously, but first obstacle is the fin. This is kind of like the gatekeeper obstacle. If you drive up the fin and you're uncomfortable with looking at the sky and the kind of serious consequence drops on each side, there is an optional like turnaround here where you would come down on the trail just below us here. I'm gonna try to put as much like exterior footage in here as possible because little action cameras like this don't do this justice at all. But nice and slow and 4 low, I think feels pretty comfortable so far. So that is the fin right there. First time doing that is definitely unsettling, but you kind of get used to it after a while. I will say the viewing angles out of the Landcruiser, in my opinion, is better than the 4Runner. 4Runner is much like the Tacoma with a really big hood, and it makes things a little bit trickier to kind of see out. I have my seat all the way up right now, and I really like the lines and everything along this vehicle, just a little bit more. I think the limiting factor of the Landcruiser today will be the tire choices on each of them. I've got a Trail Hunter 4Runner in front of me, and I think they have, what are those, the Wranglers? They have a more aggressive tire on the more off-road focused vehicles out here, but Slick Rock, super grippy, and as long as we take it slow, I think we'll make it through. Now we're dropping into an area that is often referred to as Lake Michigan, but even with the rain we had like for the past 2 days, there's actually little to no water in here. Kind of optional lines through this part. We're gonna stay on the easier stuff, obviously, with a stock vehicle, but you can kind of see the aggro crag out the window here. Could be fun.
Right there if you would.
Another feature which I just thought about to turn on now is the sway bar or the stabilizer disconnect bar. It's gonna make this thing articulate just a little bit better, and kind of need that when we're going through this off camber stuff right here. Keeps the vehicle from feeling tippy. So that section is definitely very tippy feeling, and it's weird because this vehicle is low to the ground compared to what I'm used to, but still feeling all right. And with that little bit of extra articulation in the front, it keeps the body a little bit more level. These are the sections I want to go really slow through because I don't want to tag any fender on a vehicle that is not my own. Running boards are starting to hit stuff too. All right, climbing up the next section here. A little bit off camber, a little rocky, but you can take a fairly easy line through here. This is where these tires are going to give us a little bit of trouble throughout the day. It's stuff like this where you want to turn on MTS, crawl control, and things like that when the vehicle is fighting for traction, but you're a little bit limited by the tires. Again, no front locker, which could help in a situation like this, but I think it'll make it through.
Nice work. You bet.
Not a lot of ground clearance, but it's doing all right. Now we got the 2025 coming up through.
Nice work.
Slow and steady. So this is the next big fin here. We're gonna try crawl control and see if the Landcruiser will just drive itself right up here. So now we are continuing on, just rocking along these fins here. This is a part where we really shouldn't have any issue with traction just because, of course, it's slick rock. This stuff is steep here. Actually, let me see if I can pull up the angles and see what we're at. One of these gauges has to have it. Oh, that's right, it's on the main screen. I'm assuming we're gonna hit about a 30 here at this drop. I feel like we're looking straight at the ground right now. Yeah, there we're at 30. Ooh, even more than 30. All of our camera equipment in the back is bouncing around. So once you get to a 30-degree angle, either pitch or roll, it actually turns yellow, which I never really noticed that before. I generally don't look at that often, but probably what, like 32?
Yeah, I wish I had the number. Make you go for a high score.
Yeah, it's like, don't go for the high score here. The approach and departure angles on this thing feel pretty good though. I believe the 4Runner and the Landcruiser, the 6th gen and the 250 share the same wheelbase, and then the Tacomas, some of them are gonna be a little bit longer. I believe our support vehicle is a 4-door long bed, TRD off-road I think, but I would prefer a shorter wheelbase like this when we're in terrain as such. Guess I can mess around with MTS. Could put it in crawl control and let the truck just drive right up this. Maybe I'll give that a shot actually. Turn on DAC crawl, and we're in about the middle mode. Just gonna leave it there, foot off the gas, no brake. I'm just gonna steer. It's trippy. I'm not touching the gas at all right now, and it's just doing everything. A lot of people will argue and say, oh, that takes the fun out of off-roading, which I agree to an extent. It depends on your experience, but at the same time, if you become uncomfortable with something, maybe there's a feature that you're really not sure about, it's your first time driving over it, this is kind of like a nice little safety net here, where the vehicle will just find traction for you and kind of send you right up. I'm actually gonna turn up the speed just a little bit because I don't wanna hold up the line. Still comfortable, stock suspension doing just fine. Really no clearance issues or anything just yet. Now it's giving it some throttle. It's funny when you climb up really steep things like that, this like heritage blue, or I think they call it smoky blue actually, it blends in with the sky. So your hood and the sky become one for a little bit there. And now we're going down another very steep section, probably about 30 degrees or more, I would assume. Just gonna leave crawl control on here. I'm in 1 up from low, so it should keep us going fairly slow here. Not gonna touch the brakes unless I really feel like I have to. Putting a lot of trust in the Landcruiser right now. Oh, I wanna cover the brakes so bad, but I'm not. honestly, crawl control just drove that big drop smoother than I probably would have, so that's a plus, I guess.
There you go. Beautiful. You're doing good. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. Little control on it. You're good.
Now it's time for a little rear locker action. The Landcruisers have been center locked the entire time, but up here it's a little rutted and uneven through this rocky section, so with 2 lockers, should just crawl right through it. Still no front locker.
Just pull right up to the rock.
Just saying.
Right there. Nice and slow. You got it. Come on up. Good. One full turn to the left. There you go. Nice and slow through here. It's really bumpy and blind.
Follow that bar up. Perfect.
One left. Well done. Hold that light up. Okay, now turn left. Slow, slow, slow. Okay, now start turning left. You got it.
Well, all right. We are currently at our lunch break, conveniently positioned right here at the entrance to Hell's Gate, and we are not obviously taking these stock vehicles down here. I did do a video a few years back when I had my Razor Turbo S, and that video is on the channel, so I've ran this whole area before, and it's super fun. You see a lot of videos of it on the internet and stuff like that, but until you get out here and see it in person, I don't think you can truly appreciate it. There's a huge crowd of people over here watching. So everyone likes to hang out here at the top of Hell's Gate and just kind of watch the carnage, if there is any. Hopefully there's not. Now we're at the turnaround point. We're going to be heading back basically the same way we came, and just before we got to this part on the trip, I found something out with the Landcruiser, probably the biggest downside to it. One of the biggest problems with the Landcruiser 250, but we're going to drive the truck back and I'm going to gather a couple more thoughts on it, and I will fill you guys in on that critical flaw towards the end. So, pretty fun spectacle to see. It'd be cool if someone took one of the Toyotas up it. in its stock form, I think a trail hunter could do it. It's really all about picking the right line and kind of knowing where to put your tires and whatnot, but we'll just have to save that for another day. Maybe I'll just bring my Tacoma out here once I get a little bit more armor on it. To victory. Landcruiser made it.
Talon, Coyote John,
Death. Literally.
Actually hot.
Yeah, Landcruiser is hot right now. I mean, it's holding temperature fine, but
Yeah, no, it is.
feels way hotter than what it says outside too. I'm not even touching the brake. I'm just letting the car do it all.
hold the set.
I've been cheating all day because I can like film and talk,
Oh,
and
yeah, there you go.
the car just does everything.
Ain't no reason to do the brakes when the car can do it.
Yeah. Takes a little bit to like trust it on really steep stuff like this.
Oh my.
There goes all of our cameras. All the parking sensors going off.
Don't tell
Just
by.
a little exhaust. Thank you. That's it. All right. Thanks for watching. Yeah.
Talon's gonna take us back. Bye.
Bye. Talon's gonna take us to safety. Bye.
I'm gonna end the video in the pool at the hotel. Sweet. Landcruiser has done it. Stock too.
I know, right? With these tires.
With these street tires. Phew. Well, it has been conquered. We have taken a completely stock Landcruiser 250 all the way through Hell's Revenge. Granted, we didn't do a lot of the obstacles that you guys may be familiar with, but made it all the way out to the lookout point and back. I think the Landcruiser handled basically everything that we threw at it, although we were being a little bit easy on it. So now it's time for the pros and cons. I'm gonna keep this as short as possible. Let's just talk about the pros so far. Although people don't like it, I am a fan of the powertrain. I'm used to it in the Tacoma, but a lot of people don't like a turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid. The hybrid portion of this vehicle makes driving it around town and off-road very easy and kind of effortless because there is so much torque. It just kind of rolls over everything that you approach, and I'm hoping that it's going to have that Toyota reliability and longevity. Kind of fingers crossed here, but maybe these things will last 10, 15, maybe 20 years, 100, 200, 250, maybe 300,000 miles. I don't know. That's kind of like wishful thinking when it comes to pretty much any vehicle, but only time will tell. Some of the features that I like on this thing are, of course, 4-low with a center locker and a rear locking differential. I've been joking about wanting a front locker in a vehicle like this the entire video, and yes, I think that would be cool, but it's a pretty big over-the-top ask for a vehicle like this. I don't think most people even need a rear locker in their vehicle. I think a majority of people buying this are buying it for a daily driver that can haul passengers and kids and stuff like that, and then maybe do a little bit of fun off-roading. We're really pushing it to the extreme in this case. So I don't think it needs a front locker, but I do love the rear, do love the center, and the MTS downhill assist control, crawl control, all of that stuff kind of takes away my need and want for a front locker. I've talked about this in some other videos in the past when talking about the 4th gen Tacoma and the 6th gen 4Runners, but Toyota has completely refined this system in these new gen vehicles, and I think it does a really great job. Previously on like a 3rd gen Tacoma, when you're using crawl control, it sounds like the vehicle is trying to break itself apart. The ABS was really aggressive. It's making all kinds of noise and clunks and screeches and things like that. The Landcruiser and all of those features handled it really well, climbing up really steep grades and then also coming down those steep grades. It did it almost smoother in some cases than I'm comfortable driving, and it did it without shaking the vehicle and making a ton of noise. It just kind of like drove itself. I know people don't always like those features, but for someone who wants to get into some like light off-roading and maybe you're not comfortable yet, those features are going to go a long way for people like that. I do like the Landcruiser on the interior too, even more than the 4Runner, which may be an unpopular opinion. I like that there is a lot more headroom in there. I'm kind of seated differently. There's better viewing angles, so off-roading this is a little bit more comfortable than the 4Runner and the Tacoma, at least in my opinion. When comparing this right next to a 6th gen 4Runner, you're not going to have as many like storage compartments and stuff on the inside, but this feels just slightly more luxury, not as luxury as you may be thinking like an older Landcruiser may be, but this definitely feels a little bit more premium in some cases than the 4Runner. If I was a single vehicle kind of guy, I could see this doing a little bit of everything. If you are hauling people around, maybe you have kids, you could put some car seats in the back. You can haul a ton of groceries and then also do some fun off-roading on the weekends. I think this is a really good platform for a little bit of everything. And then there are the cons. You guys have already heard me talking about this throughout the video, but the wheel and tire setup on this is not something that I would opt for. 20-inch with like a street tire doing what we're doing is not the greatest. I would opt for, looks like you may be able to fit maybe as small as a 17 on there with a larger tire. That would be how I would set this vehicle up. And then also the ground clearance. Don't need these running boards. I would like to kind of get rid of the self-clearancing type of items like the mud flaps in the back and just give the vehicle a little bit more ground clearance, of course, with a suspension lift. If you put a 35 or in an extreme case a 37 on here with some suspension, I feel like it would be way more capable than it already is, and I think it would drive a lot nicer when you're off-road. And then the con that you guys have probably been thinking about since the beginning of this video, the price. This is a fairly expensive vehicle, but at the same time, if we kind of throw out the current number of this vehicle, the Landcruiser has always been more expensive than the Tacoma and the 4Runner, so I don't think we can harp on it too much. If you compare features side by side, it is very close to the 6th gen 4Runner. And maybe there are some things that would sway you in the direction of the 4Runner. I personally think I like the Landcruiser more than that. But again, it is a fairly expensive vehicle. If I was a one vehicle guy, I think I could be okay with the price. Best case scenario, in like 2 to 3 years from now, buying one of these used, I think that is going to be the best option for a lot of people out there, myself included. And then for the thing that I was thinking about while we were out on the trail, the biggest kind of downfall, the biggest con of the Landcruiser 250, it's simply the name. This may sound a little crazy, but stick with me here. Having Landcruiser name on a new vehicle like this is one of the biggest downsides because Landcruiser name has a cult following from the 80 to the 100 to the 200 series and now up to the 250. A lot of people don't like change. So when you put a like newfangled engine in it with a hybrid powertrain and a 4-cylinder turbo instead of some big displacement motor like you may be familiar with in the past, people are not quick to adopt it. I think over time, if these things prove to be reliable, which again, I'm really hoping they are, I think the narrative will change a little bit there. People said, hey, we want the Landcruiser back, and then Toyota delivers something like this, and people kind of are up in arms about it, and they're really not fans, at least until they drive one maybe. A lot of people take that Landcruiser name with a little bit of luxury, a lot of bit of off-road functionality, and they're kind of expecting what they wanted in the past. They want the Landcruiser name, but they want like the same exact vehicle. This thing is brand new, and times have changed with regulations and new technologies and things like that. Toyota has been making turbocharged vehicles for a very, very long time. They've been making hybrid vehicles also for a very long time. So I think their engineering has done a pretty good job here. And again, we won't know until like a couple years down the road. But at the end of the day, I think living up to the Landcruiser name is going to be the biggest like downfall of a vehicle like this. Can it do it? Maybe. We will find out in the future. Only time will tell, but I have some faith in Toyota. I'm hoping these things prove to be a really good vehicle and can kind of continue on the Landcruiser heritage. So that's all that I have time for right now. Maybe in the future, if you guys want to see me in a Landcruiser again, I could set something up. Got to give a huge thank you to Toyota for hosting us out here in Moab. Thank you for letting us drive these vehicles around and make some content with them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like on it. If you have any questions on the Landcruiser, let me know in the comments down below. And if you are new to this channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.